Welcome back to the Marvel Movie Minute, a daily podcast which we disassemble a film from the Marvel Cinematic Universe into 1-minute segments and then examine its obsessive and occasionally hilarious detail. I'm Kyle Olson from the Swashbuckling Ladies Debate Society podcast.
Hey, and I'm Rob Cabasco, and Kyle.
Yes.
Brooke.
Hi.
Who's returning to be with us. So we all speak languages, which right?
Languages of love.
Now, well, I know sometimes Kyle and I, we have a tough time with the native language that we speak, which is English. True. But, okay, so there comes the topic of dead languages. A language is considered dead when it is no longer the native language of a community of people. It's noted that now that's different from extinct languages, which are no longer, don't have any speakers at all. But there are such things as dead languages. We deal with Latin, right? Latin is considered a dead language. It began in Italy, spreads from that area, basically, of Italy, spreads with the Roman Empire. And then you think it dies out with the fall of the Roman Empire. It actually transformed. It basically turned into what we consider the Romance languages: Spanish, French, Italian, Portuguese, and Romanian. And the classic Latin fell out of use. Now, you'd consider it to be dead, but it still does exist in a variety of areas, right? And these are areas that if you still wanted to be an expert in any of these areas, you would want to know a little Latin. One of those is science. In the field of medicine, names for diseases, drugs, even body parts are still treated with their Latin forms, especially in biology as well. Catholicism, something that I'm a bit familiar with. It is still the official language of Vatican City. It's used throughout a lot of the different rites and areas of that religion. Philosophy, if you study philosophical theories, you'll come across a good amount of Latin terminology. And law. So in the legal field, habeas corpus, pro bono, ex post facto, Latin is very important in those things. So although it's a dead language, there are some benefits of knowing a little Latin, even today. Why do I bring this up? There'll be some jealousy that we'll hear emanating from a certain character. I hand it over to you.
Because I believe the original Stark family motto was in vino veritas. Oh. So here we are in minute 25 of Iron Man 2 in 2010, directed by Mr. Jon Favreau. And we pick up where we left off, which is in the extraordinarily uncomfortably long take of Tony Stark looking gross and drinking chlorophyll. Yeah. It's a long shot.
It's gross. It's gross.
Yeah, and it's gross.
No argument. It's gross. It's meant to be gross.
Yes.
She's doing her job.
Why is it meant to be gross? Still figuring that out. But so then they cut, and I love it. They cut back to Scarlet and to Natasha, and she's just nothing.
Unfazed.
It's great.
Unfazed.
Exactly. Just like, yeah, I've seen way worse, man. like, go ahead, whatever, sure. And then even Tony Stark even gets rattled by this, the most verbal of all of our heroes, and he's like, she's giving him nothing,
right?
And so it even makes him uncomfortable, and he says, "What? Like, did you say something?" And she gives him nothing back, like not even like, "I didn't say anything, sir." Like it's just like, nope, just ice cold.
Ooh, wait, I just want to say this.
Yes.
Okay, and when that happens. Inside her head, she just went, mission objectives? Check. I'm on my way to mission accomplished. Because he's totally rattled. You can see it in his eyes. The whole weird, awkward conversation starter of, did you say something? What? Oh, no, he's done. Mm-hmm. This game is underway.
Yeah, exactly. She is like 10 moves ahead of him at this point. So then Tony says to Happy, can you give her a lesson?
Oh.
And so it's like, okay, sure. So Tony hops out of the ring and Happy, the two of them square off. So we cut to Pepper. And Pepper is using her phone. Rob, it's time to test your technical acumen. So Pepper Potts is using the LG NV2.
Oh,
also known as the VX9100. So I have 3 questions for you.
Oh, I'm unprepared, but go ahead.
Exactly. That's why I wanted to do this.
Did.
Okay, here's your 3 questions. What is the operating system of that phone? What is the internal memory? And how big is the camera? 2010. This phone came out in late 2008, so it was being used in 2009, which is when the movie was shot.
Okay.
So it was new at the time.
Yes.
So it was pretty, and it was a mid-range phone. I would say that it was not top of the line, but it also was not, bargain basement.
Right.
And this is 2009.
What's the first question?
First question is, what is the operating system? That's probably going to be the
Well, no, I think
challenging.
it's probably LG has been known. They have used, I know in their TVs, they have used a variety of operating systems. One of them is called WebOS, which is actually a homegrown OS that they use in their televisions.
Oh,
so this
fancy.
is probably a homegrown operating system for theirs. Like, I don't think it's licensed from anybody. So I don't know. It's LG Mobile OS.
I'll give you half a point for that one. Oh. It's actually called Brew.
Oh, I remember
but you're
this.
Right.
Yes,
it is the internal. It is their internal. It was not Android.
Right,
was
no.
not.
I did know that. That I knew. Okay. All right, half point.
What is the internal memory of the phone?
Oh, okay. 2009. This is wow. I mean, that's a year after the iPhone, or a year or two after the iPhone. You probably have iPhone 3G is out, so it's the second generation iPhone. Oh, I mean, I don't even think we're in gigs. Are we in gigs yet on phones?
I will give you one clue in that it also had an external memory card slot.
Oh, it's in.
So I'm not counting that. I'm saying what is the internal memory of the phone, not like what is the max capacity that you could do by putting in an SD card.
I want to say something ridiculous like 16 meg.
You're close.
Oh,
it actually was 63 meg.
Oh, but in megs. Under 100 meg.
In megs, under 100 meg. Yep.
That's another half point. I think it's another half point for me.
And how many megapixels did the camera have?
Oh, like 2.1?
Yes.
Oh! 2.1. I am a total tech nerd.
Yes, you are.
I feel like I've just wandered into like the nerds version of wait, don't tell me.
Oh, seriously.
That's true. But meanwhile, back to the rampant sexism.
I'm sorry, Rob, and I really do insist that you do keep this in the podcast because I don't know if people know that we can see each other's faces. Rob's face every time he got a half point or a point, the elation was just beautiful to watch. It was amazing.
I am very expressive. I emote quite much. Oh, you're welcome.
Thank you.
Very nice.
So Tony sits down next to Pepper on the duvet. I don't know what.
No, that's a chair. I'm surprised you guys haven't looked at
this. It's just a big chair. Yeah,
they are actually big. Go ahead.
Yeah, a chair not meant
actually,
for
big
two people.
Chairs exist.
Yeah, but not meant for two people.
Well, no, they're not.
Do you think that was part of it? Like,
wait a second.
Him squeezing in?
No, hold on. First off, they're not meant for a chair for two people, for someone who's my size, because I identify as a fat woman. However, Gwyneth Paltrow is probably a size 2, and Robert Downey Jr. is probably a size 2.4.
It's still snug. They're still snug on that.
It's pretty snug.
However,
especially because he smells terrible at this point. Of
course he does.
I mean, not only from all the sweat, but also probably because he's sweating out chlorophyll. Which is all he's eating and drinking.
I'm sorry. If you think that I ever for once think that Robert Downey Jr. smells like anything other than like lavender and or rosemary, you are wrong.
Oh, I want to live in Brook World. Yeah. So
don't they all?
So he says, "Who is she?" And this is why I like Pepper. Having seen it all over the last 10 years, says she is from legal and is potentially a very expensive sexual harassment lawsuit if you keep ogling her like that. It's like, So obviously Pepper doesn't miss anything.
No, but it goes to the fact that, like, and as I said in the previous minute, she knows where to draw the line.
Well, she see there is a line, and it's going to be crossed, and she's trying to keep him on one side of it.
Now during this conversation, a very interesting thing happens, and I know we alluded to this at the end of the previous minute, Brooke. There's an issue with Robert Downey Jr.'s legs, his crossing of his legs. What do you think happens in this?
And as I said, I would love to know if it's an acting choice or a directorial choice. I don't believe that was a screen. Maybe it was a screen direction. I don't know. Pepper is sitting with her legs crossed, right leg over left. Tony sits down next to her and crosses left over right. He looks upon her legs and kind of has a weird little facial tic and changes the positioning of his legs to mimic her.
Yep. Mirroring
her. But the other thing is as well is like, okay, I'm going to start getting in line.
Okay. That's good.
You don't agree.
I have a different perspective.
Okay.
When he sits down, he does this so that their legs will touch. And if you notice, the moment he sits down, her leg moves. And the meaning she is sending to him is, no, you're not touching me. And that's when he changes the legs. And I actually have a really deeper theory about this. She's miffed. We are starting to see the little bits of jealousy. She sees him ogling this new woman. And we talked about this in the last minute. This is her going, no, the barn door's closed. You're not, don't even try to flirt with me. That's not happening. And I'm going to tell you, if you look at their conversations in the previous minutes, there clearly has been this flirtatious relationship up to this point. This is her absolutely saying, because of all the attention he has just shown this new character very quickly, she's basically like, no, don't.
As a woman, I can tell you, you're not wrong.
I don't see it.
You don't?
You don't?
No, I mean, I don't see her being like jealous, because why? She has no hold over Tony. Tony's not hers. But I want to go back to the moment in the first Iron Man movie, though.
You just said something very interesting to me. Tony's not hers. Yeah. Yes, he is very much hers. Very much so.
Yes, I would agree.
Well, but he's like not romantically.
And?
Yeah, but so then why would she be jealous of someone coming in?
He was okay. You're confusing two things in my mind. Number one,
it's deeper. It's deeper.
Well, for me, it's with Pepper. It's romance and it's love and it's that river that runs underneath. It's what you share with your wife. When he's looking at Scarlett Johansson, when he's looking at Natalie Rushkoff, whatever her name is,
Rushman.
He's like Rushman. Excuse me. He's thinking, oh my God, she's hot, and I am very physically attracted. There is a difference between lust and love. What he has with Pepper is lust and love, but that doesn't mean he's, in a sense, married, but he's not buried at all.
And I think you see this is based on what we talked about in their previous conversation. Again, we're building on that whole her coming down and raising hell with him about, look what you did, all this stuff I spent all this time doing for you, and you're going to try and say it's your money and not our. And even in that conversation, when it's kind of like, oh, is it my money or is it our money? It's an old married couple's argument, right? And that's happening here. And I honestly think the whole scene where she comes in, it goes from really quickly, oh, playful, hey, Tony, don't mess this up. This is not, please don't do this. To then, what does this happen? Right after she has watched her enter the ring and seeing and witnessing Tony get his tongue tied, which Pepper knows, oh, come on, that doesn't happen. Two, you're letting yourself do that for her. I'm right here. I think it's that he sits down, they touch, and she's like, no, get your leg off me.
I don't think you're wrong. I think Rob's read it right.
Pepper has a weird slut-shaming thing that she does.
A little bit.
Yeah.
Because she does it in the first, and I don't quite understand it. So maybe this is part of what ties into that. In the first Iron Man movie, she basically is kicking out the reporter after Tony has slept with her. And and makes a thing about one of my jobs is taking out the trash.
Oh.
So basically it's like, Tony just had a one-night stand with her too, but you're not really that upset about that. And then we're going to see that same character will show up and she'll slut shame her again.
I'm sorry. Is this the Marvel movie minute or the internalized bias minute?
Yeah,
well, that's what I'm trying to figure out. I don't get it. I don't understand Pepper in these situations. I see that she is aware of everything that's going on in here. She sees exactly how Tony feels about Natalia. She doesn't know how Natalie feels about Tony, but I don't think she really cares because this is just another employee of Stark Industries, and so she's thinking like a CEO.
Well, she's not in love with Natalie. She's in love with Tony.
Right.
Right.
So she doesn't care about how Natalie feels about any of this kind of stuff. But it's a weird thing. I didn't understand it in the first one. I don't understand it in this one, and then it just goes away.
Well, you're a woman scorned. What's that saying?
Wait. Who's been scorned and when?
Well, no, I mean, I think, okay, like you go all the way back to that first time where she says, oh, I'm taking out the trash. That's to say, you really shouldn't be wasting your time with trash. That's her point of that.
She's calling the woman trash.
Yes, she's telling it to Tony because she's like, wow, you're wasting your time with them when I'm right here. And that's what, yes, I actually think that's what you're getting with Pepper. Those seeds are part of that story.
Oh, I don't see that she's waiting for Tony at all.
I think
you don't?
Smitten. Yeah, she's smitten.
If you were to tell me that that Gwyneth Paltrow went and watched every single scene Janelle Maloney did in the first 3 seasons with Bradley Whitford on The West Wing and like played it exactly like that, I would be like, totally get it.
We just had another West Wing reference.
Yeah, I know, right? It keeps coming up. So you guys are both saying that Pepper is just waiting for Tony to come to his senses and marry her?
Not come to her senses, but come to his senses, but basically get past whatever it is that's afflicting him, which she doesn't know at this time is death.
Do you understand like the whole concept of like a woman looking at another man and saying, I am your partner. I am your partner. I'm the one who shows up every day. I do the work. I run the company. I take care of the kid, which is the company. I do all this work so you can go off and do whatever the hell you want to do. And now you're going to have the audacity to check out this other woman right in front of me?
Yes.
Absolutely.
But see, that's
not.
But I 100% with you on that. But I don't see that. I see that as a partner thing. I don't see that as a relationship thing. I mean, as in terms of like a romantic relationship where she's just sitting there pining in her heart, waiting for Tony to realize that the one he's been looking for is right there. Cue the Vanessa Williams song.
No, I think it's okay.
I'm sorry. I'm going to jump in. First off, she's not a Vanessa Williams kind of girl. She's I'm going to listen to Meredith Brooks's bitch over and over and over again and get that. Yeah. And the thing is that Pepper's never going to be the romance where you're going to buy me, roses. She doesn't want roses. She wants respect. She wants a partner, and Tony is a partner when he is acting like one. He's a very good partner and foil to her. It's never going to be about like I said, the satin sheets or all that stuff. It's going to be about showing up and doing the work because that's how she's wired. She is uber capable. She's sexy, but she's restrained. She's like, I'm going to play my sexiness in a man's world where it makes me work. She's so capable. She ends up being one of the greatest parts of the whole MCU. And I'm not a Gwyneth fan. It hurts me to say this.
Yeah. I love Gwyneth as Pepper. I'm not a big fan of her in other things.
I agree with that. Yeah.
But I think she's been very poorly written.
Agreed.
And I feel like there are vast swaths of character changes that happen between the movies that don't get explored. Like she shows up and she's a different person. Mm-hmm.
So anyway, this is my thing is in this context, I think I completely understand what Rob is saying. I think she's like, she might be calling the girls trash, but I'm going to say one thing. Pepper's a woman and the other girls were just that. They were girls. And I'm not saying that's right for what she said to them. To me, what she should have been saying to them was, you could do a lot better than this guy because this guy's going to be break you because he's been doing it to me. Even if it's not just about the sex, it's about how you show up emotionally. And the person that Tony shows up best for emotionally is 1000% Pepper Potts. I'm not saying he shows up perfectly. I'm saying the best of his ability at that time, he's showing up for Pepper. Am I wrong? I'm willing to be wrong.
No, I agree with that. I would add that in terms of as this episode of relationship counseling by the minute continues. No, I mean, here's the thing. The reason why I see this is, and the reason why there might be some inconsistencies with this is, Pepper has two things that are important to real deep, long-lasting relationships. If they become, if they become intimate relationships like where this is headed, is this. Number one, she knows that she is an integral part to him being able to be Iron Man. She is absolutely, without her, he will become a disaster and self-destruct. Foreshadowing what we're about to see later on in this movie. And number two, maybe one of the greatest things of love in that deep emotional route of relationships is Pepper can see Tony for what he could be not just what he is.
Yeah, but the thing is though, is that she does see him for what he could be, but she loves him for who he is now.
And, oh no, exactly right. But she's willing to be able to not deter from encouraging that and being very candid with him and stuff. That is what I think makes this. And to me, everything I see up to now speaks to that.
Welcome to Love Live.
How about that? What about that? How did we? Let's take our next caller on the 1-800 number. What's your question? No,
we don't talk about I want to talk about Peter Quill and how he has his relationship with his mother makes so he's can't form long-lasting relationship with women.
And Gamora. No, so. Wow, we went deep on that. No, but it's interesting.
She's still a puzzle to me.
But I mean, and here's what I think sours this minute probably for you is what then follows is horrendous by a certain character.
And we're about to get into the real deep misogyny here. So their conversation seems like he says, "I need a new assistant." She says, "Yes, and I have 3 excellent potential candidates. They're lined up and ready to meet you." And he says, "I don't have time to meet. I need someone now, and I think it's her." And Pepper says, "No, it's not." Then we cut into the boxing ring, where now obviously Happy is not the most evolved of people at this point. Not. He also has a journey to take before he will become at his best, which is in Far From Home.
Correct.
But he's being very condescending to this tiny. I mean, obviously she is a tiny woman. Like, though she be little, she is fierce, but she's still little. He said there's a good foot between Favreau and Favreau's not a tall man either. And he says, "You ever boxed before? Like Taibo, Booty Boot Camp, Crunch, something like that?" Yeah.
Not cool.
I'm not going to get in deep on what all those things are. You can look them up. But it's just him being like super condescending.
Look at Fitness Fad circa 2000 whatever.
Yeah, and they're all they are. So now, okay, so let's shift away from all the emotional stuff and let's get nerdy because when Tony starts reading, our friends at Perception show up again, and they created this smart table. So all the stuff he brings up, the first page has Stark Search Beta 1.0 powered by Google. Another product placement. Ching. So from then on, we have basically her resume, and I happen to have Black Widow's resume here. Would you like? I went through and pulled off all the information from those screens and have it here.
Some very interesting stuff embedded in here.
That's right. So her resume. So Natalie Rushman's resume is she is an analytical, multilingual legal assistant with an interest in world trade, national security, and human rights. Which is that's Natasha.
Accurate.
Interest in world trade, national security, human rights. Yeah, okay. Excellent research writing and executive presentation skills. Okay, we have not seen that on screen, but sure. She adapts quickly to new environments and thrives on multiple tasks. Well, yeah. As a super spy, you kind of have to be able to adapt. Let's see. Her areas of expertise include legal documentation summarization, research coordination, proofreading, extensive research experience, research development, certification in personal training, and previous experience with PIC microcontrollers, which is a weird addition to that list. Her experience is she was a legal assistant at Stark Industries, Long Beach, California from 2010 to present. So obviously she just recently got hired. Before that, she was an intern at Hammer Industries.
Oh.
Interesting. Right. Uh-huh. Her technical proficiencies include Microsoft Word, Excel, Entourage, which I don't remember as being a program. Rob, do you know?
Oh, Entourage was their integrated email contact management to-do list system.
Okay. Yeah. So it says Entourage and Outlook, so that makes sense.
Yeah.
She's also proficient in Word Perfect.
Word Perfect.
I miss it.
Lotus Notes.
I have to tell you guys, as somebody who works in the legal field, I miss Word Perfect still.
Right.
Well, so maybe you'll know this one. She also is proficient in something called Westlaw.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
No.
I said I didn't know that one.
No, Westlaw in the
What is Westlaw?
Westlaw was, now it's no longer, I think got deactivated maybe 7 years ago. But Westlaw was the preeminent legal database in the 90s and the 2000s.
I'm actually gonna wait, Rob. It still is the preeminent. What?
No. It's Westlaw Next now. They upgraded it, didn't they?
Okay.
So it's actually something.
Hey.
I did a little bit of homework. And LexisNexis. Well, LexisNexis is also there, and that's on the list as well.
LexisNexis is next on the list. Yeah. Microsoft Explorer.
Like, I still call it Westlaw.
Oh yeah, no, and you should. Don't. I was being really nerdy there. No, it's they upped it. They went and upgraded to this whole new system. But anybody, if you've been doing law for the last 20, 25 years, you know about Westlaw.
This ad brought to you by Thomson Reuters.
Yeah, right.
She's also proficient in Safari and Firefox and is a notary public.
Hey.
Yeah. She is open to relocation. And then her language skills, she is fluent in French, Italian, Russian, and Latin.
Latin.
So there's another thing on there, but we'll get to that as we go. And so then as Tony is reading this out, he says, "Who speaks Latin?" And so Gwyneth says, Pepper says, "No one speaks Latin." Apparently, this was a joke on the set, because as they were talking about what Black Widow could actually do, Gwyneth made that joke. She's like, Latin is not a spoken language. No one speaks Latin. So they're like, oh, that's funny. We need to put that in the movie. And so they just added it into the scene.
Oh, it sounds like the jealousy went far and deep in the production of this movie. See, I take that line as Pepper going even more like all the things he's just mentioned. If you've just gone through those, and he didn't read those, he just scans through them. But all of those things, for him to pull up like the Latin thing, here's what the character's doing. He's saying, wow, she knows Latin. That's impressive. And Pepper's just like, who cares? That's a dead language. It's totally within the line of the
she
character.
Also says no one speaks Latin, and she's wrong. Because
it's funny you said that about it. There being possible jealousy on the set. You said it best. Gwyneth Paltrow was 37 years old, had already had 2 children, and Scarlett Johansson was 24. I mean, well, and I'm not saying that they don't have the utmost respect for each other, but there is...
Now I wasn't insinuating anything like that. However,
it's like there is like...
Come to your own conclusions.
Queen Bees and Wannabes. No, Queen Bees and Wannabes, the book is not an inaccurate portrayal of being female.
That's right. Adapted into Mean Girls.
I mean, listen, if she speaks Latin, she's obviously very astute. It's not like she's a lingerie model.
Hey, Rob.
Oh, wait.
Funny you should mention that. Because this is super gross.
But there's a reason. I can go ahead, whatever.
So at the bottom of her resume, it says modeling history. She was a Ford model from 2005 to 2007.
Yes.
Runway, fashion, locations included Japan, Italy, France, and the United States. And DNE, I don't know if the font was very, very small. DNE models 2004-2005, commercial, featured in various national advertising campaigns. And hey, there's art that goes along with it too.
Okay, first, I think it's one model. I think it's ONE. I don't know if it's a D.
ONE? Okay, so I would say the font was very, very small, so it had a hard time.
We're analyzing compressed JPEGs of screenshots.
Yes.
Okay. Did we? Now, I don't know if you omitted this for a reason. You didn't mention her education?
I didn't see that on there.
Okay, so her education, Harvard Law School, but she also then attended the University of Southern California. USC. Now, okay, and which, by the way, if you look at the thing, this is funny. Her thesis at the University of Southern California, her master's thesis, the impact of Stark Industries, and I couldn't figure it out because it's obscured by his glove. But amusing. So, okay, look at all this information. What did they embed here for Tony Stark to see? Here's somebody, well, 1, she worked at Hammer Industries. Interesting. 2, she clearly had an interest in Stark Industries, and by reference him. So they're building this whole case for Tony to think, oh, this is someone who really likes you and knows how to press all your buttons.
Hey, remember when you find out that she's embedded in like whatever, they wrote this like dossier for her to get in there, and it basically is like catnip for Tony of the highest grade.
Yeah.
It's like ganja grade catnip.
That's exactly what this is. And okay, is it within the realm of possibility that an attractive young woman who is at USC could somehow get involved in the modeling industry? The answer, yes. Yes, there is. It's completely believable.
We just call it Instagram and TikTok and OnlyFans.
See? It's totally believable. It's totally believable, Kyle.
Mm-hmm. Believable?
Is it appropriate?
Not a problem.
Is it appropriate?
Appropriate?
No.
Necessary? No.
But if you're trying to hook, this is the bait for Tony.
Okay. The inside the movie, sure. Outside the movie, is there a reason that when you hired Scarlett Johansson, you also had to have her do a lingerie shoot? Can we not just look at her and think, yeah, she's pretty?
Well, are you sure that she did?
Yeah, because it's right there. Like, there's multiple shots that she, like, did a whole thing. It is not CG'd.
The one that's really gross of all the photos, and I'm sorry, I certainly screenshotted the gallery shot of all the photos. There's a photo of her laying down on like a red velvety thing with a wine glass and a wine bottle, and it's just a weird shot. I mean, I don't know.
Well, so, okay, I want to stop for just a second and say, first,
please.
I love Jon Favreau. I really do. Especially the work he's done around food, because he made Chef and he's got the Chef Show and all that stuff. And
yes.
Huge fan. Jon Favreau of 2020 would not have made this movie. Nope. Because Me Too has happened. And I haven't watched Iron Man because you didn't invite me to be on the podcast.
Oh, yeah, this is very tone deaf in today's sentimentality.
Actually, if you go back, there's a lot of stuff in Iron Man that's pretty questionable.
Anyway,
we were not actually hosting it at the time. That was not our fault. So that was not us.
And again, Kyle, and I think part of the reason why Kyle invited me to come on is because I have had a strong beef with the MCU and their portrayal of women through the entire MCU. And if you want to see, my boyfriend and I usually agree on, I'd say 99.999% of everything. And on the last scene in Endgame with all the women, we have to not talk about it. Because I think it's pandering, and he's like, I think it's great.
I believe both of those things.
I would agree with both.
Great.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm sorry. I don't mean to derail, but
that's a much farther future episode.
Yeah.
Now look at.
You're circling around back to the.
But no. I mean, again, in terms of the story that is being told here in these minutes, it does make weird sense. It's horrible, but it speaks to the worst of the character of Tony Stark. And I mean, did they have to go to this level? No, I will say, I mean, this is outrageous to think that one day she got called to the set, and the set was, it's your photo shoot day. And Scarlett Johansson was like, okay. I mean, she signed up for knowing. I mean, this is in the script, right? So I mean, like, I understand that. But yeah, this is outrageous that they had to actually push all this.
I do not disagree with that. I really try very hard not to look at art from. I try to look at stuff made in the context of the years it was made, not in the years that it is now. But I have to work hard at it
and analyze. Correct.
I think this was pretty gross then.
I'm not saying it wasn't gross,
but it's
okay. Well, I'll tell you one thing though. This is a Paramount movie. If this was a Disney movie, this would not have happened.
Oh, that's a good point.
I remind you that Paramount is the one who did Star Trek Into Darkness, which has the dumbest,
the most gratuitous, female
in all
shot
of Star Trek
ever. Well, my God, it's one of the most ridiculous shots. It makes no sense. It's completely ridiculous. Yes. And okay, wait, divergent here. That shot was only in the movie to be in the trailer.
Yes.
Only for the trailer.
And screen grabbed for the
It was clickbait in a movie trailer. Yes. Which is ridiculous.
And look what we have here.
Yeah. Again, it's gross. It's gross because the character of Tony is in a gross state of his life because of a lot of different reasons.
Yes. Internally, the logic, okay, fine. It's unnecessary, but fine. But like externally, unnecessary entirely.
No, but I'll tell you though, I would also make the case that I think this is part of S.H.I.E.L.D.'s plan to not just hook Tony, but also to create disruption between Tony and Pepper.
Why?
Because
that's really interesting too. Because the thing is that the person who has led Tony back to S.H.I.E.L.D. has been Pepper.
At this time, at this point, I think they're basically just like, look, there's technology here. He's got a problem. We want to scorch the earth and figure out how to rebuild this so that we can rebuild him in the image of S.H.I.E.L.D. Okay.
Not only that, but if you can isolate him, once they get him isolated later on in the movie is when they're able to manipulate him.
Now, I went real deep there. I know I'm stretching because I really love this movie, but I don't know.
You can love this movie and not love
John
these
Favreau's
minutes.
going to be listening to this going, damn, I never thought of that.
Right? I hope
And he's like, they didn't even let me finish cutting that scene. They took it away from me in the editing room.
You got to love when you can overanalyze something, which you can only do on a minute-by-minute podcast of a movie.
Yes.
But you got to love, like, I know, we're giving meaning to things that are probably just like, hey, we just thought it'd be funny. Boom, done. Anyway. Oh, no. So
that and on those images, that is where the actual minute comes to an end.
Mercifully.
Mercy. Don't worry, she gets her redemption.
Oh yes.
Which, by the way, I made the mistake. I analyzed the previous minute and the next minute, or this minute and the next minute.
Oh, okay.
So I'm glad I watched the movie once, and then I rewatched those scenes a couple times. So
so we'll have you on for 26 then, so we can.
Oh, great!
Yes.
Where I'm just going to keep saying Heidi Moneymaker over and over and over again.
Yes, it cannot be said enough.
Well, okay, so I think I got it. So, like Kyle, I understand you feeling about it being so gross, and that might be why it has been rated so low within the MCU cinematic spectrum. So, speaking of ratings,
Yes.
We could use your ratings for this particular show. If you go to your podcatcher of choice, whether it be iTunes or Pocket Casts or whatever you enjoy, and give us a rating to let us know how you think we're doing. It helps people find the show and also helps us better ourselves, because isn't that the whole point of 2020 is us trying to figure out how to be better people than we were in 2010?
And exactly, because number one, we are not gross most of the time.
Trying not to be.
And two, your ratings telling us how great we are helps to make the world a better place. Okay, I may have
and
jumped.
Isn't that what we all want to
There
be?
may be some jumps in logic there.
The whole episode's about jumps in logic. But make sure you have 26 when we actually get to see Black Widow in action for the first time, and we get to meet one of Brooks and my favorite people in all of Hollywood.
Heidi Moneymaker.
Spoilers!
Heidi Moneymaker. Heidi Moneymaker.
Make sure you do not miss minute 26. Enough said.
Bye.